Alright everyone, welcome back to yet again another hockey card collection. The collections continue today with the New York Rangers. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, probably should have counted these before, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 full pages of Rangers hockey cards. So, Rangers fans, you're in for a treat today. Anyways, let's get into the collection. So let's begin here with this collector's choice. From 1990, pretty sure it's 1991, 1992. So, obviously, you can see there that is, I think that's Gartner. I'm not sure. I'm probably wrong. We have this team fax card from 1990, 1991. And I'm also hoping to get some more hockey cards into the collection eventually. You have a head coach here. You have Roger Nealon. So, solid coach there. Moving on to the actual players. So, starting off here, you have Yaramir Jaggers NHL best cards. So, here we get into the reading. With the ability to explode offensively on any given night, Jagger continues to be regarded as one of the premier goal scorers in the National Hockey League in 06-07. He recorded his 15th consecutive season, scoring at least 30 goals. Next up here, you have his O-Pee-Chee version of his card. Jagger is showing no signs of slowing down as the veteran superstar chalked up 18 points on 3 goals and 15 assists for the Rangers in the first month of the 06-07 season. A lot of these are 06-07 cards. Here's another Jagger card. And what do you know from 06-07? A decade and a half into his NHL career, Jagger stood amongst the top of the offensive class once again in 2005-2006. He ranked second in goals and points, tied for third most assists. His 123 points at the all-time Rangers single season record. Then next up, you have the century mark for Jagger. Jagger notched his 4th season with 120 or more points last season, tops amongst active NHL players. His 123 points in 2005-2006 led all Eastern Conference skaters. So, some very historic cards there for Yaramir Jagger. Next up, we have another historic player, Mark Messier. Sorry for the glare on this card. I think first time we've previewed one of those cards. If it's possible, Messier's role as a leader will increase in the 94-95 season with the addition of new head coach Colin Campbell. When was this made? This was made in 93-94. Okay. This next one is from 96-97, heading into 96-97. Mark has been called the best leader in pro sports today. The Rangers were 40-21-13 with Mark in the lineup and 1-6-1 without him. So Mark Messier proving to be a very valuable player with the Rangers. Next up, we have cards for Michael Gartner. This is a 92-93 highlight. That is really long. Next up, this is from 93-94 NHL season. This was a 600th goal. Yep, that's a 600 goal milestone card. You have his Bauman card. This is how he played against his career against teams. He actually has the most points historically against the Islanders, which I guess it makes sense because if you're going to be on the Capitals and the Rangers up to that point, it makes sense that one of your tallies is going to be against the Eastern Conference rival. So, kind of makes sense. You got his score card, and then you have his Scores Speedster card. And let's just say he was a speedster. Next up, we have the one and only card for Kelly Kisio. Sorry if I butcher any of these names, by the way. I know Rangers fans are, you butchered that name, in the comments. And I know my Rangers fan base is decently big, so, and I mean just like the team. Next up, you have James Patrick. I think his father, Craig Patrick, was likely the coach. So a couple cards there for James. Here's his top cards as well. James was credited with 6 power play goals in the 88-89 season. Next up, moving on to a more active NHL player, my only card for Artemium Paneran. Paneran had an assist and an overtime to help steal the Rangers' 3-2 win in Buffalo on April 1st, 2021. Why are all these on like April Fool's Day? It's so weird. Next up, you have Darius Casparadis. Might have butchered that name. I wouldn't be surprised if I did. Casparadis has been a fixture for Russia in international competition for nearly 15 years. Next up, you have the honor roll for Brian Leach. So moving on to the Brian Leach cards now. Leach is one of the game's top passers and is a valuable contributor for the Rangers power play. Then you also have his scorecard there as well, and then his premier card. Give that a read. Brian was the pace for another Norris Trophy before suffering a spate of injuries. Nevertheless, he still was the top leading defenseman for the Rangers. Next up, you have David Shaw. Scorecard there for him. Then you have his upper deck. Moving on to an old card here, you have Harry Howell. It's got a lot of stuff there on the back. I'll just show you the back real quick because that's cool. New York Tribute. Next up, you have Jesper Fast. So much more current card. Fast is obviously now on the Hurricanes. Is he still in the Hurricanes? I'm pretty sure he's still in the Hurricanes. All right, next up, that's done with the captains and assistant captains. You move on to Randy Mahler. And this is his career against teams. It looks like the most here is actually against the Philadelphia Flyers. So Randy Mahler fans will know that all too well. Next up, you have his scorecard. I have a couple scorecards here. You have a 1 in red and then a 1 in purple. So interesting there for Randy. Next up, you have Steve Larmer. Larmer chipped in 4 points in his first 2 games as a Ranger, including a game-winning tally in his debut. The Ironman's consecutive streak ended, but the benefit of New York, Larmer is a versatile player and a leader for the Rangers. Next up, you have Kevin Shattenkirk, who's obviously moved on to the Anaheim Ducks now, and then was with Tampa, and then he's kind of been everywhere. Shattenkirk signed with the team he grew up cheering for in Connecticut on July 1st, 2017, and tallied an assist for his Rangers debut and a goal and assist in his second game at Toronto on October 7th. Next up, you have his player credentials, level 1 access. Never understood these, but whatever. Next up, you have his MVP card from 2018-19. Moving on now, you have Craig Mctavish. Nothing there on the back. Next page, you have David Deshainaris. Not sure where he is now. Deshainaris received first-star recognition after tallying an assist and netting the game-winning goal in overtime as Edmonton beat San Jose 4-3 in Game 5 of the first round of the 2017 playoffs. Next up, you have Troy Mallett. There's his upper deck card. And then his scorecard. After that, then, you have Adam Fox. Norris finalist and Norris winner, in fact. Fox set up 5 goals for the visiting Rangers' 8-3 victory over the Flyers on March 25th, 2021. I remember that loss very well. Then you have his O-Pee-Chee card there as well. Those historic 9-0 and 8-3 losses don't sit well in my mind. Next up, you have Jay Wells. So some 94 Cup winners there. Pavel Buchnevich obviously moved on to the St. Louis Blues. Buchnevich led the Rangers in 2020-21 and set a career-high 3 shorthanded tallies. Then you have Darren Turcotte. There's a scorecard. There's another scorecard. So just multiple different kinds of score. Then you have his tops. So one of the fastest skaters in the NHL, Darren has balance and hands to match, hard accurate shot, and can score from any position. So interesting there for Darren Turcotte. Next up, you have Doug Weight. Nice 75th anniversary patch there as well. Alexander Karpostev. I definitely said that wrong. Most definitely. Next up, Brian Mullen. So, Brian Mullen here. There you go. There's his scorecard. Then there's his purple scorecard, which actually has a dent in it. That's not good. Next up, you have Chris King. Here's his O-Pee-Chee, or his tops, not his O-Pee-Chee. His tops purple. His 4-sport collection, 92-93. Interesting there. Don't think we've seen one of those in the collection yet. You have his Bauman. Shows the teams that he's played against. The best he has, I think, is also with the Flyers. So cool there. And then you have his Stadium Club. So cool there for Chris King. Next up, you have Kevin Hayes. Been a fan of my channel. He's one of my favorite players ever. You have the Topps Tributes, Guy Lafleur. He's got a lot of writing on the back there. Holy. Obviously, Guy finished his career with the Rangers, if I'm correct. Next up, you have Steven Rice. There's his pro set. There's his prospect scorecard. After that, you have Milo Slav Herrova. However you say it. That's an interesting name there. Originally drafted by Edmonton in 81, Herrova's rights were traded to the Rangers in October of 86. He played for Kladino of the Czech First Division through the 88-89 season. Then you have his pro set card there as well. Quite an interesting name, must I add. I could make a video on my own, just like of the most interesting hockey names, because it is 100% a conversation. Jack Johnson, obviously Johnson. Hated on with the Rangers. Johnson scored his first NHL shorthanded goal in the Penguins' 4-3 win over the visiting Bruins on January 19th, 2020. He signed with the Rangers as a free agent on October 9th, 2020. Remember his days with the Penguins. Next up, Chris Nealon. You got Tom Poti, however you say it. An 03-04 Poti was Mr. Clutch for the Rangers, notching a team-leading 5-game winning goals, including back-to-back overtime winners in late December. In addition, the mobile regard also came through on the power play, recording 4 power play markers. After that, then you have Philip DiGiuseppe. He's bounced around the league a lot. I think he's with Vancouver last I checked. He could be somewhere else now. DiGiuseppe found the back of the net for the first time in 2020-21 in February 26th when he scored in the first period of the Rangers' 6-2 victory over the visiting Bruins. Next up, you have Joby Yobe. I think it's Yobe. Joby Messier. I wonder if this is Mark Messier's brother. Should look that up. Messier played 4 seasons with the Michigan State University Spartans in the CCHA, was the team captain in 91-92, earning a place on the CCHA First All-Star Team and the NCAA West First All-American Team. Next up, you have Capo Coco. So, Capo Coco there. Coco scored his first NHL goal against the Oilers on October 12, 2019. He showed off all of his hands to earn him the second overall spot in the 2019 NHL Draft. He did around Edmonton goaltender Mike Smith to score the Rangers' lone goal of the night. I think I remember that goal, actually. Next up, you have Mikhail Rozev. These damn names. Roosevelt appeared in all 82 games for the Rangers last year, and New York hopes to continue taking advantage of his solid combination of shooting and passing skills, as well as his defensive mobility. He was awarded the Bud Light Plus/Minus Award in 05-06. Interesting. Plus-minus was only plus 35. Next up, we got a number of cards here for Chris Kreider, and by a number, I mean a number. So let's get into this here, starting off with the most recent one. Kreider tallied only the Islanders' Matthew Barzal, or trailed only the Islanders' Matthew Barzal and the Oilers' Connor McDavid on the 2020 Fastest Skater event at the All-Star Game with a 13.509 lap on January 24th. Next up, then, you have his Artifacts card heading into 2019 or 2018-19. Kreider had the best game of the 2017-18 season and garnered first-star honors after recording a goal and 3 assists in the Rangers' 4-3 overtime win against Pittsburgh on March 14th. This one as well from 2017-18. Kreider recorded career highs in goals and points and tied his best in assists during the 2016-17 season. He also led the Rangers in markers and was 4th on the team in points that year. Struggling to read. Next up, we have his O-Pee-Chee card. Then you have his MVP card. And then you have his upper deck from 2014-15. With the Rangers down 3-1 in the second round against Washington in 2015, Kreider scored the tying goal with only 1:41 left in Game 5. Then he scored twice in Game 6. After that, then you have Brendan Smith, averaging just 11 minutes on time on ice per game in 2019-20. Didn't stop Smith from bulldozing opponents, as the Rangers blue liner made 90 hits in 62 games, blocked 41 shots, and took 45 shots. He dug out 16 more hits and blocked 5 more shots during the 2020 playoff games. Obviously, he moved on to the Canes, and now he's actually with the Devils. Signed with them this offseason, 2-year deal. We'll see where he goes next. Next up, you have Nick Kypreos. Pretty well known. Kypreos was a member of the Harold Holt New York Rangers team that brought the championship starred Rangers fans a Stanley Cup in '94. Kypreos now serves as an NHL analyst on Canada Sportsnet. So, kind of where he is now, actually. Next up, you have scoring predictor, goals leader, and it's Adam Graves. So this is like, was this like a scoring prediction? Interesting. Quite interesting there. I actually never took a look at that card. Next up, you have Norman Rochefort. These damn names, I swear. Then you have Derek Brossard there as well. So Brossard, let's take a look at him. In 2015, Brossard became only the third Ranger to record 10 or more playoff points in a single postseason at least 3 times, joining Mark Messier 5 times and Brian Leach 4. Next page here, we have Mika Zabanijad. Here's his Ice Battles. Never really understood what Ice Battles was. Then you have his MVP card there as well. After that, then, you have Ray Shepard. There's his pro set. There's yet again another pro set. And then there's his upper deck. Shepard was a member of the NHL All-Rookie team in 1988. After that, then, you have Esa Tikkanen. Obviously, played for the Rangers. Currently, then, he was with the Rangers, the Oilers, not the Rangers. Well, yeah, he did play for the Rangers, but he also played for the Oilers. Next up, you have Matt Zuccarello. There's his OPG card, and then there's his MVP card. After that, then, you have Jimmy Vesey giving a puck to a kid. He's giving something to a kid. I think it might have been like a t-shirt or something. Vesey scored his first career NHL postseason goal in Game 5 of the Rangers' second-round series against Ottawa in the 2017 Stanley Cup playoffs. Obviously, unfortunately, Vesey never panned out the way he was supposed to be with the Rangers or any team. In fact, I think as of right now, he's actually a free agent. The Devils let him walk. Next up, you have Ryan Strome. He's no longer with the Rangers. He's with the Ducks now. So there's his Ice Battles card. Then here's his base card. In helping the Rangers defeat the host Washington Capitals 4-1 on February 20th, 2021, Strome earned his 100th point with the Blue Shirts with an assist in the first period and scored his 100th NHL goal in the second period. Some cool statistics there for Ryan Strome. Then here's his OPG card there. Next up, you have Sergey Zuboff. Obviously, his number was retired by the Dallas Stars. A steady defender, Zuboff spent 4 seasons with the CSKA Moscow of the Russian Elite League before making his North American debut in 92-93. The Rangers selected Zuboff selected Zuboff 85th overall in the 90 NHL draft. It said 6th, and then it just said 85th overall. Probably a typo. Seen a couple of those. You have Rick Bennett, NHL prospect card there. You have a card for David Shaw. That is my bad. Typically, I usually make those mistakes at least once in every video, which is good. That's why I'm glad that I do these types of videos, so I can kind of just, degrade or, lower down my collection a little bit more, because obviously I do plan on getting more hockey cards. Next up, you have Carrie Wilson, Pro Set card, and then you have his scorecard there as well. You have a Fleer Ultra card for Sean Avery. A master at getting under the skin of opposing skaters. Avery was the only player in the NHL to appear in more than 82 games during the 06-07 season. Obviously, Avery was found guilty a few weeks ago for bicycle incident. You have Ryan Spooner next. Not sure where Spooner is now, to be honest with you. I'm really not sure where Spooner is. Next up, you have Tony Amonte. Top prospect card. You have Aaron Voros up next. Interesting OPG card there. Then you have his upper deck. The Wild acquired Voros' services by working a trade with New Jersey in 2007. He spent his debut NHL season with Minnesota before joining the Rangers via free agency prior to the 08-09 campaign. Next up, you have Sergey Netchimakov. We have a couple of cards for him. So starting off here with his Stadium Club card. His score card. Probably his first of many scorecards. His other scorecard. His upper deck card. Nemchinov. Wait, what? Nemchinov. What am I saying? Nemchinov, a checking specialist, a penalty killer for the Soviet Wings. Nechikov played 115 games for the Soviet national team. Next up, you have his Premier card. And then you have his... Crap, what is this? Let's just say score. I don't even know what that is. Could not read it. Next up, you have Jan Eriksson. Not how you spell Louis Eriksson, but Jan Eriksson. Score card. And then obviously, as well as that, Pro Set card. Next up, you have Bernie Nichols. Upper deck. Then you have his score card there as well. Another upper deck. Pro Set. And then last but not least, Tops. Then we have Derek Bugard, who unfortunately passed away. Rest in peace. No longer with us. Next up then you have Artemium Anisimov. I'm not sure where he is now. He might not even be on a team anymore. Last I think is Ottawa or maybe Chicago. One of those two. I'm not sure. Anisimov first full season with the NHL was a solid one, as the Rangers won 7-2-2 when the former second-round pick scored a goal, and 15-6-2 when he notched a point. I remember when I was in Wildwood like 3 years ago. This was before the channel even started, and I remember there was like this like people who watch my content and like live near me may know what I'm talking about. But like there would be like this building with like this board who would like show the sports news, and it showed Anisimov being traded to Ottawa, and I was like, okay, it's a minor deal for a Wildwood board. Next up, you have JT Miller. Obviously, now he's with the Vancouver Canucks. In just his 7th game with the Tampa Bay Lightning in the mid-season trade from the Rangers, Miller recorded his first career hat trick when the Lightning hosted the Senators on March 13th. Next up, there you have Jody Hull. Pro Set card there for him. Then you have Brady Shea. Mark Janssens. Janssens was selected 72nd overall by the Rangers in 1986. Then you have his Pro Set card there as well. After that, then you have Kevin Miller. There's his Pro Set card. And then there's his Upper Deck card. Kevin was one of the 3 Miller brothers in the NHL. The others are Kelly with Washington and Kip with Quebec. Kevin played for the Michigan State and the 88 U.S. Olympic team before turning pro. I think the Olympic team would be pro. Next up, you have John Ogrodnik. Probably saying that wrong as well. Pro Set. Again, I know Rangers fans are probably like raging at me in the comments, but my bad. Just a 15-year-old kid just pronouncing cards in his hockey card collection. Next up, you have Tim Kerr. Scorecard there. Another scorecard. And then you also have his pro set. And that is the last of the players. So now we move on to the goaltenders. You got Igor Shesterkin here. This is kind of interesting card there. Obviously, now he's an amazing goaltender. Shesterkin played, posted consecutive shutouts against the New Jersey Devils in April of 2021. I remember that. He was like on a crazy shutout streak. Just shut out the Rangers, or shut out the Rangers. Shut out the Islanders, or the Devils four times in that season. Next up, you have Mike Richter. A number of cards here for Richter. Got his scorecard there. You have his Bauman card. You have his pro set. You have a scorecard. You have another pro set. You have another pro set, which is rookie goals against average leader. So, pretty cool achievement there for Richter. And then you have his Bauman card. You have his BAP All-Stars edition. Or his BAP. Yeah, BAP. Then you have his O-Pee-Chee card there as well. So that does it for Mike Richter. Probably the most cards in the Rangers collection. It's always a goalie, and that's a strange thing with me. Like, there's only a few teams that I can point out that isn't a goalie that has the most cards. Next up, you have Glenn Healy for 2 here. Glenn just missed playing 30 games for the 7th straight season, but he, it looks like a B, but he did record his lowest goals against average ever. Strange there. Really, really weird. Next up here, we have John Van Viesbroek. In my opinion, one of the most underrated goalies in league history. I think he honestly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Next up, we have someone who definitely should be in the Hall of Fame, Henrik Lundqvist. Lundqvist recorded his first victory and his first shutout of the 2017-18 season with a 34-save effort in the Rangers' 2-0 triumph over the visiting Canadiens on October 8th. And then you have his old Parkhurst card here as well. Not many Parkhurst cards in my collection. Next up, you have Alexander Georgiev. Obviously now, he's been traded to the Avalanche. After the Rangers were shut out by the visiting Islanders in their 2020-21 season opener on January 14th, Georgiev helped his team get revenge in a rematch 2 days later by making 23 saves and a 5-0 victory in his seasonal debut. It was his 5th NHL shutout. Next up here, we have Corey Hirsch. So some interesting cards here for Hirsch. Hirsch helped lead the Canadian national team to a silver medal in last winter's Olympics and played 10 games for the Binghamton Rangers, compiling a 5-4-1 record. He's a solid young netminder who the Rangers drafted in the 91 NHL entry draft. So, some interesting cards there for Corey. Next up, you have his Between the Pipes 0304 memorabilia card. But it's actually not for him. It's for Mike Dunham. So, cool card there. And then last but not least, you have a 1950s Upper Deck card for Gump Worsley. So, that's our final card here. Worsley played every minute of every game, winning 13 games, including a pair of shutouts, on a way to winning the Calder Trophy as the NHL's top rookie, playing for the last place Rangers in 1952-53. That is rough. Rangers proud and shared history, but that is rough. And that'll do it for the Rangers hockey card collection. That went on for about 29 minutes. Next up will be the Ottawa Senators collection, which is fairly big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 full pages of Ottawa Senators cards. So we're slowly moving along here. That's it for the N City teams. So anyways, that'll do it for me. Thank you all very much for watching. For us personally, I really do appreciate it through all these hockey card collection videos. We don't have all too much left. So anyways, that'll do it for me. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.